shooting 100 three-point shots in practice. He made
At 78 years old, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar still stands as one of the most unshakable figures in basketball history. He held the league's scoring record for nearly 4 decades, a mark many thought would never be broken. Yet when Kareem looks back on his career, he does not only see points, titles, or trophies. He remembers faces. He remembers moments. And he remembers the players who shaped the man behind the skyhook. What may surprise many is how Kareem speaks about those players. In countless interviews he has said that his own greatness came from studying others, from absorbing their strengths, their leadership, and even their struggles. He has described himself as a student of the game, always watching, always learning, always respecting those who came before or fought beside him. It is a side of Kareem that few fans ever truly saw. Behind the calm expression and the unstoppable shot was a man quietly moved by the brilliance of his peers. So the question becomes, after all these years, who does Kareem still admire most? Who are the 5 names that live in his memory, not just as rivals or teammates, but as guiding stars of the sport? The answer takes us across decades of basketball history, from the defensive wall of Boston in the 60s, to the soaring artistry of Philadelphia in the 70s, and the glittering lights of Los Angeles in the 80s. Each name carries a story. Each story carries a lesson. Let us walk through the 5 players that shaped Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's journey, not just in the box scores, but in the soul of the game. For Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the journey always began with Bill Russell. Long before Kareem became the Skyhook King, Russell had already defined what it meant to dominate the game, not through points or flash, but through presence and leadership. 11 championships in 13 seasons made him a legend, yet it was his commitment to winning the right way that truly captured Kareem's admiration. As a teenager in New York, Kareem studied Russell's approach from afar. Russell blocked shots not just with height, but with timing. He turned defense into a statement and made his teammates believe in something larger than themselves. For Kareem, that message was unforgettable. Greatness was not measured only in numbers, but in the ability to elevate everyone around you. By the time Kareem entered the NBA, Russell was nearing the end of his career. Their encounters were brief but powerful. Kareem recalled the intensity in Russell's eyes, the way he commanded the floor without ever needing to score 20 points. Even in decline, Russell embodied control, wisdom, and a fierce commitment to team success. Yet Russell's impact went beyond the court. At a time of racial tension, he stood as a voice for equality, never backing down from the responsibility of being a public figure. For Kareem, who would later use his own platform to speak on justice and culture, Russell's courage offered a model of how an athlete could shape society as much as sport. To Kareem, Bill Russell was not only the greatest champion but the first teacher. He showed that basketball could be a vehicle for integrity, leadership, and change. He wasn't just playing the game, Kareem once reflected. He was showing us how to live it. If Bill Russell was Kareem's example of leadership, Wilt Chamberlain was the image of raw power. To Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, facing Wilt was like staring up at a mountain. He was larger than life, not just in stature but in presence. Wilt was the man who once scored 100 points in a single game, a record that still stands untouched. But for Kareem, the true measure of Wilt's greatness was not just in the numbers, it was in the challenge he created every time they shared the floor. Their first battles came when Kareem was still a young star in Milwaukee. Wilt was older, but even at that stage his dominance was undeniable. He controlled the paint with brute strength, towering rebounds, and a physical style that forced Kareem to adjust his entire approach. The skyhook itself, Kareem's unstoppable signature, was sharpened against the weight of Chamberlain's presence. Without Wilt pressing him, Kareem often admitted, the skyhook may never have become the weapon it did. What struck Kareem most was Wilt's combination of size and agility. He could run the floor like a forward, score with ease inside, and still intimidate anyone who dared drive the lane. Even when Kareem managed to score, the effort it required left a lasting impression. Wilt demanded respect not only with points but with the way he changed the rhythm of every game. Off the court, Kareem also respected Wilt's confidence and individuality. Wilt carried himself with flair, never apologizing for being different. He was outspoken, he was bold, and he forced the league to expand its imagination of what a big man could be. For Kareem, Wilt Chamberlain was not just another opponent. He was the test every young player had to pass, the obstacle that separated potential from reality. He made me better, Kareem would later say, because against Wilt, surviving wasn't enough, you had to grow. For Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the most defining relationships of his early career came with Oscar Robertson, the man the world called the Big O. Before Kareem ever wore a Lakers jersey, he was a young center in Milwaukee searching for guidance. What he found was a veteran guard who had already reshaped the game. Oscar was not just a scorer or a passer, he was complete. By the time he joined Kareem with the Bucks in 1970, Robertson was already famous for averaging a triple-double over an entire season. To Kareem, that meant more than statistics. It meant that Oscar understood every angle of basketball, from pacing the offense to calming a locker room. Their partnership reached its peak in 1971. With Kareem only in his second season and Oscar nearing the twilight of his career, the two came together to deliver Milwaukee its first and only championship. Kareem often credited Robertson as the steady hand that carried the team through pressure. When younger players lost focus, Oscar slowed the game, controlled the rhythm, and reminded everyone what it meant to play with purpose. For Kareem, the lessons were priceless. He learned patience, discipline, and how to trust in the flow of a team. Oscar never needed to dominate the spotlight, his value was in how he elevated those around him. Kareem later said that Robertson taught him that basketball was not simply about talent but about wisdom, timing, and restraint. Off the court, Kareem also admired Oscar's courage. The Big O had fought for players' rights, challenging the league on issues of fairness and free agency. That boldness left a mark on Kareem, who himself would become a voice beyond the game. In Oscar Robertson, Kareem found more than a teammate. He found a mentor. Someone who not only passed him the ball but passed along the knowledge of how to build a championship life. By the time Kareem Abdul-Jabbar reached the 1980s, he was already a legend. But then came a young guard from Michigan State who would redefine not just Kareem's career, but the entire identity of the Los Angeles Lakers. That guard was Earvin "Magic" Johnson. From the very beginning, Magic's personality lit up every room he entered. His smile, his charisma, and his unshakable confidence turned the Lakers into more than a team, they became a spectacle. Kareem, known for his quiet and serious demeanor, found in Magic the perfect counterbalance. Where Kareem brought wisdom and control, Magic brought energy and flair. Together, they embodied the essence of Showtime. Their connection was instant. In Magic's very first finals as a rookie in 1980, when Kareem was sidelined by injury, Magic stepped into the center position and carried the Lakers to the championship. For Kareem, that was a defining moment of admiration. He saw not only a gifted player but a fearless leader who thrived under the brightest lights. Through the decade, the Kareem-Magic partnership delivered 5 NBA titles. On the floor, Magic's passing elevated Kareem's skyhook into something unstoppable. Every lob, every no-look feed, seemed designed to place Kareem exactly where he needed to be. But what truly impressed Kareem was Magic's spirit. He brought joy to a game that Kareem had often approached as a burden of responsibility. With Magic, basketball felt like celebration. Off the court, Kareem admired Magic's ability to connect with people. Whether it was fans, teammates, or the media, Magic carried a lightness that made everyone feel part of something bigger. For Kareem, who was often reserved, that openness was a lesson in leadership of a different kind. In Magic Johnson, Kareem saw not only a partner but a successor. Someone who would carry the Lakers into the future while honoring the legacy of the past. And together, they created memories that still define the golden age of Los Angeles basketball. Among the many players Kareem Abdul-Jabbar admired, Julius Erving held a special place. Known simply as Dr. J, Erving was more than a basketball player, he was an artist who turned the hardwood into a canvas. While Kareem ruled the game with the skyhook, Dr. J ruled the imagination, soaring through the air with grace that made every move feel like a masterpiece. Kareem respected Erving because he changed how the game was experienced. Fans did not just watch him score, they watched him perform. From his legendary baseline move in the 1980 finals to his iconic dunks that seemed to defy gravity, Dr. J gave basketball a beauty that inspired millions. Even Kareem, who had seen every style and every matchup, admitted that Erving brought something unique. He made basketball poetic. Their battles were fierce Lakers against Sixers, finals filled with tension and pressure, but Kareem never looked at Julius as just another opponent. He saw a man who carried himself with dignity, calm under the spotlight, and elegance in victory or defeat. Off the court, Kareem admired his class and influence. Dr. J became a cultural figure, a symbol of style and creativity in a decade that needed both. For Kareem, Julius Erving represented the joy of the game. He reminded players and fans alike that basketball was not only about numbers or championships, but about inspiration. He wasn't just playing, Kareem once reflected. He was lifting the spirit of everyone who watched. In Dr. J, Kareem found not just an opponent or even a peer, but a reminder of why the game mattered in the first place. Looking back across the decades, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's admiration for Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson, Magic Johnson, and Julius Erving paints more than a list of great players. It forms a living portrait of basketball itself. Each man represented something different: Russell's leadership, Wilt's dominance, Robertson's wisdom, Magic's joy, and Erving's artistry. Together, they shaped Kareem's journey, reminding him that even the most unstoppable skyhook was built upon lessons learned from others. For Kareem, these 5 names were never about rivalry alone. They were teachers, partners, inspirations, men who challenged him to grow and reminded him that greatness is not earned in isolation. He has often said that his career was less about numbers and more about people, those who guided him, those who tested him, and those who lifted him higher than he could have climbed alone. In honoring them, Kareem also honors the spirit of basketball. It is a game of legacy, passed from one generation to the next, where respect outweighs ego and memory outlasts victory. These men did not just shape the league, they shaped Kareem himself. And so the question now passes to you: if you had lived Kareem's career, which players would you still carry in your memory? Which names would stand as your guiding stars? Share your thoughts below, and if these stories bring back the spirit of a golden era, join us by subscribing. This channel is for those who still feel the echoes of the game's greatest days.